into day 2, but hoping to finish with a 7-2 or 8-1 record. For Joe, part of Team Nerd Rage Gaming, you see right now number 3 on the 2016 leaderboard. On Season 2 leaderboard, Joe actually is very far down at the moment. So if he wants to make a compete maybe for a Season 2 championship, he'd like to add a good finish here. A lot of his year-long points came from the Las Vegas Invitational.
Right, and the Season 2 leaderboard, we're looking at the Invitational in Columbus, we're looking at the Open and Classics from that weekend. As I said, just a really rough weekend for Joe, so he's going to need to make that push through the rest of the season.
Contemplating a mulligan here. Joe is nothing if not deliberate in his play style. And decides he will go ahead and have to mulligan.
Yeah, and Tron is a deck that you can make an argument that it mulligans well. You can make an argument it mulligans poorly. One thing is for sure, every Tron land plus a Karn is all you need to win a lot of your games. So I've certainly seen Tron take a lot of mulligans and still just convincingly crush a lot of matches of Magic.
So Joe Lossett, the popular streamer from Redlands, California, 19 Open top 8s and 5 wins, including top 8 of 2 invitationals, the most recent one in Las Vegas at the end of 2015. Known for really being a tried and true aficionado of different archetypes, whether, you know, we've known him to play Heroic in Standard, Miracles in Legacy, Bring to Light in Standard, and now Tron in Modern. He finds a deck and he sticks with it for sometimes years.
Yeah, he likes to know all of the ins and outs of his deck. One thing that Joe prides himself on is just being very familiar with the interactions that are going to come up in the formats that he's playing. When it comes to Miracles and Legacy, you're never going to surprise him. He's been playing so much Tron and Modern. He's just going to be very familiar with all of the interactions that come out. And it looks like he's not very happy with his 6 either.
It's going to be another mulligan here. Tron is a deck that can win on 5, as opposed to a lot of other critical mass decks.
Right. We're looking to get all 3 Tron pieces, the power plant, the tower, and the mine, set up as fast as possible. There's a lot of redundancy in the deck. We have 4 copies of all of those lands. There's expedition maps. There's Sylvan Scryings. It doesn't take a lot of cards to start casting those haymakers, and things like Karn Liberated, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, they're just so much more impactful than the other cards played in Modern that Tron is able to win a lot of games without very many cards. Of course,
it's harder to hit those critical masses.
Joe not happy to mulligan to 5.
Oh no, you'd rather have 2 more cards.
Right.
But as long as he has the ability to make Tron, there oftentimes are extra cards and unnecessary cards in his hand.
Bonus cards.
Yeah. And Joe will keep a scry of 1. He'll leave it on top, and we are underway. Joe starts out on Grove of the Burn Willows. Pass back to Jason Schneck. Overgrown Tomb, 2 damage. That will make Viscera Seer for Schneck. So this is part of the 3-card combo for the deck.
Yes. That turn was actually a little bit of a roller coaster for Joe. When he sees Overgrown Tomb, he thinks maybe it's Junder Abzan. Those matchups are great. When he sees Viscera Seer, he's like, okay, there's a combo here. I need to try to win quickly.
Yeah. This one's still good. It's not Junder Abzan. He would have preferred that.
Right. He would much prefer that his opponent just has to win naturally in combat. But this is still a favorable matchup. Being on 5 cards, especially leading on 2 non-Tron lands, Joe has a lot of work to do here.
Go back. It is just a 2nd land for Schneck. Nothing more. Joe casts a Sylvan Scrying last turn. Now his turn will play Expedition Map, so he's actually getting close to having Tron.
Yeah, we have the first 2 pieces for sure.
A swing of Viscera Seer for Schneck. And it will be Kitchen Finks. So now 1 card away from Infinite Life, but as we've said before, Infinite Life combo is not game over for Tron.
Right. Tron able to do things like restart the game with Karn, or just mill you with Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger.
Joe will go ahead and crack that Expedition Map to get Urza's Power Plant. He's 2 in.
Halfway there.
You gotta say, those two shapes, one of them, it's weird that one's a power plant and one's a mine. They really look the same.
I'm not an art scientist. I couldn't say one way or the other.
Joe's draw a third Grove of the Burn Willows. It was close to what he wanted, but now he'll pass. Ideally, Joe would wait to crack the map until he knew which Tron piece he needed. It livens up more of his draws. He may not have time to do that here. You just have to
sometimes
pick one and get lucky.
Yeah, you just have to set yourself up to get lucky. You know, this way, he's live on drawing the correct Tron land, or given the fact that he has the 2 grows, he could draw a Sylvan Scrying and get Tron online that turn and have access to the 7 mana.
Here's the combo from Schneck. So it's going to be Court of Calling for 2. We'll see if he wants Malira or Anafenza. Both will work. He'll get the Kintree Spirit. So if you're unfamiliar with this one, this is the heart of the Abzan Company deck. You sacrifice Kitchen Finks to Viscera Seer. It persists back. You gain 2 life and scry 1. But then in comes back with a -1/-1 counter on it, but gets bolstered on 2. Becomes a 3/2 again, and you repeat. Get as many life and as many scries as you want.
Yeah. Haven't seen him actually start sacrificing anything just yet. Joe's just hanging out with some untapped red mana, and could have Dismember as well, so.
Yeah, Joe does not have any instant speed cards in his deck in the main. So what we know on our side is this is a green light for Jason to go ahead and infinite life combo.
And I assume that we will see him go for it without too much time passing. And this smells like a fire spout. We'll see what it actually looks like.
Yeah, it's going to be Fire Spout. All the creatures are on the ground, so Joe's going to pay red for it. We've seen this before. It's good, but it is. Jason will still be able to gain infinite amounts, an arbitrary large amount of life. He'll be able to scry any card to the top.
It's a good thing that we have that sideways 8 ready. We don't have to worry about getting
Boom,
that
there
queued
it
up.
is. Well, we already purchased it earlier in the broadcast, so now it's there.
It's proving to be worth the expense.
Countably infinite, for those of you wondering at home. You can't gain an irrational amount of life.
Yeah, that would not fly.
That's
So it looked like Schneck went for the exact bottom card of his library.
oh, wow. Okay. So all the creatures die. Kitchen Finks ends up persisting back. Joe plays land 5, another Grove of the Burn Willows, so he'll just have to pass. When this happened to Logan Mize, the card we saw him go for was a copy of Court of Calling on top of his deck.
Yeah, so it's going to depend on the texture of the rest of Schneck's hand, what he needs to set up a combo one more time. The next time, he wants it to be Murderous Redcap, so we need to set up a different Malira or Anafenza.
Yeah,
and the Viscera Seer.
He'll attack for 2 and pass the turn. Now, this would make me think he's put Collected Company on top of his deck.
Yeah, or he just already had it.
Oblivion Stone for Lossett. If he had full Tron completed, this would be much scarier. However, he does not.
As things stand, we're definitely in the range where Schneck will be able to potentially Collected Company and untap and get a Murderous Redcap into play.
Well, here's the end step Collected Company. Joe needs this one to miss. Birds of Paradise plus Kitchen Finks. That's, I think in the scheme of things, that's got to be a win for Joe.
Yeah, it's only one combo piece. And that is the one that technically Schneck had access to already. Even though the other Kitchen Finks has a -1/-1 counter on it, there are ways around that with, say, Anafenza Kintree Spirit. And we're on the beatdown plan.
So swing Joe down to 11. We go back over to Lossett, draws a copy of Urza's Power Plant. Close, but he'll go ahead and pass. Now with 5 mana up, he can activate Oblivion Stone. And it looks like it's going to be Gavany Township activation for Schneck.
Okay, so if this resolves and Joe doesn't crack the stone, then the other Kitchen Finks will regain the ability to persist, as well as just increasing the clock. So
yeah, so that's why Joe will go ahead and crack the Oblivion Stone.
Yep, so now we're back where we were about a turn cycle ago with just the 2-1 Kitchen Finks for Schneck. Right, and then the Township ability resolves, and now we're back to a 3-2.
Now it's back to a 3-2, yes. So as a 3-2, it actually is a combo piece, but we may be looking at damage.
Yeah, Joe is down to 11. And now he's still off Tron, and he doesn't have enough just random lands to cast another O-Stone and leave that up.
It may not matter that he's off Tron at this point. One more land drop and he can start casting cards like World Breaker anyway. We see Noble Hierarch for Schneck, an attack for 4 with Kitchen Finks. This is getting there. Joe will go to drop to 7 on the attack.
Yeah, and we'll see what Schneck has to follow up here, but we're very close to closing the game the old-fashioned way. Kitchen Finks is just such a good card.
Urza's Tower, the draw for Joe. It's not just land 7, it is the Tron piece. So now he untaps with 12 mana.
And I believe that I've spotted an Ugin the Spirit Dragon in hand.
Well, that's good. I think his hand is Ugin, Wormcoil, World Breaker. So yeah, he was ready for this land to show up. Here's the Spirit Dragon for 8 mana. Joe stays alive long enough to make it to Tron, and now the hits will start coming.
Presumably, Joe is going to go for a -3 to exile the Kitchen Finks and the Noble Hierarch.
It's a dangerous spot for Joe, though. Jason has a Collected Company in hand and a Gavany Township. It's very possible he can just deal 7 damage next turn.
Yeah, with the right creatures, you just need to get 5 power on the table. Then the Township would combine with that to make it lethal.
Finks plus a 2, Finks plus any 2 power.
No.
Red cap plus anything.
When it comes to Kitchen Finks, though, that's really the only 3 power creature that can be found.
Oh, you're right. Red cap can't be found here. So maybe it's harder. If it's possible. I suppose Scavenging Ooze would work if he found it. That would be big enough.
If he had another mana to exile a creature to pump the Ooze first, yes.
6 cards. We'll see what he gets. Eternal Witness among the options. That one's strong. Not gonna winning the game, but nonetheless.
Yeah, and if there isn't a line to actually win the game this turn, then the Eternal Witness, just to get back Collected Company, could try to shore that up on the following turn.
Yeah, Jason's got to watch out for be aware that his win condition is damage here.
Though it looks like we have just a collection of 2 power creatures.
So he could deal 6 at most. Yeah, it's going to be Eternal Witness plus Malira Sylvok Outcast. He will get back Collected Company with the Eternal Witness. Untap, go to his turn. He drew, I believe, the Murderous Red Cap. So now this is interesting. He could Township and put Joe to 1 and have the Red Cap in his hand.
Yeah.
Or he could attack down Ugin.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of options. He, of course, just did pick that Collected Company back up.
He does not have the double black to cast Murderous Red Cap yet. So instead he's going to attack down Ugin. If he has double black here, do you think he makes the other line? Just puts Lossett to 1.
If you do that, then yeah, you don't care about the Ugin ticking down in the following turn. You just have a spell that's lethal, and Joe's not going to be able to do anything about it.
Big draw from Lossett. It's a copy of Fire Spout.
That'll clean up the creatures here, and he has more than enough mana to cast one of these Haymakers on top of it.
Yeah, I really like it. In Lossett's game plan here, that Wormcoil engine, he'd really like to get some hits off with that.
Yeah, Schneck, given this turn of events, I imagine we're going to see a Collected Company at end step, so a lot of pressure on what he's able to find on that one.
So it's going to be, actually it looks like World Breaker from Lossett. So I like this. He's going for World Breaker first, so that if Jason has Collected Company, he's trying to get Jason to use it now or to use the Township now to get that action.
Right, main phase 1, we cast World Breaker. You can float mana or not. If you don't cast Collected Company, when we go, or actually no, there's 5 lands hanging out.
Right, so he's taking away the Township activation if he wants
Yeah.
Schneck to use the mana now.
Right. I imagine that Schneck is just going to hang out with Collected Company, though.
Probably. I mean, and now that Schneck didn't activate Township, Joe probably knows it's Collected Company.
And he saw it on the Eternal Witness, so he knows it's there.
Yeah.
You know, he possibly just baiting Schneck into activating the Township.
And now it's Fire Spout. Red and green played. Keep in mind, Joe's never trying to win through damage anyway. He was always trying to mill Jason's library, exile Jason's library. So the fact that Jason is at infinite life, that's fine by Joe.
Yeah, Joe can win through damage, but he has avenues to win otherwise.
Here's another Collected Company from Schneck. Can he put the combo together? Still has that red cap in hand. He will get Kitchen Finks and Viscera Seer. Or
So he's back down to 1 source of black mana, and he didn't find the combination of creatures that can help him combo off here.
he's close. He's been close for a while. But he keeps feeling like he's 1 damage short each time, you know?
Yeah, he's just not able to close this one in combat, and he's always 1 or 2 cards off of comboing for actual damage.
Now we go over to Lossett. So the question will be, can Lossett close? Can he find that Ulamog in time? Here's Chromatic Sphere. Joe will play and crack it, getting a colored mana. Ancient Stirrings off the green. That's a great play.
Yeah, the arguably best card selection spell still legal in Modern.
A bunch of Chromatic. It's 2 spheres, 2 stars. Okay, Joe will pick Sphere. Play that one. Sacrifice it for colored mana. Trying to find, I believe, Ulamog. But how about Oblivion Stone?
That's a great find here. Given the cantrips that we had to cast that turn, wouldn't have been able to cast Ulamog on this turn, but has more than enough mana for Oblivion Stone.
He has just enough to play and crack it.
Yeah, do you want to sacrifice a Kitchen Finks or a Seer in response to this Oblivion Stone? Looks like no.
No. Schneck getting stalled out here. He's going to try to find ways to deal 7 damage to Joe. But they're hard to come by. And Schneck will check the graveyard. Counting combo pieces, maybe. How many Finks does he actually have left? Or
if we Court a Calling for Eternal Witness, is there anything that we want here? Do we get a spell back like the Collected Company? But yeah, what's missing from the deck? What can we find?
All right, Court of Calling from Schneck. But keep in mind, he's doing all this, perhaps with the Oblivion Stone on the stack. We'll get exact timing. It's going to be getting Eternal Witness, getting Collected Company. And that one's interesting to me because he traded a Court of Calling for a Collected Company. I'm a little surprised because I would have expected Schneck to value the Cord higher at this point in the game.
Yeah, well, part of it is that he already has the Murderous Red Cap in hand. So that diminishes a lot of the value of the Court of Calling. He just needs to be able to set up and have the requisite other combo creatures. And Collected Company can potentially find 2 of them in one swoop.
A swing with both creatures. Schneck's trying to get Lossett to crack that Oblivion Stone. Joe is at 7.
Yeah, the World Breaker, for as large as it is, can only block 1 creature.
He has to decide if he wants to block the Witness or the Finks. Looks like he blocked the Finks, so they will persist back. Joe will drop to 5.
Yeah, and with the Finks persisted, now the Oblivion Stone can be used to cleanly wipe that out.
And he put a fate counter on the World Breaker. I'm a little interested that he did that as opposed to just recasting World Breaker and actually intentionally destroying it with Oblivion Stone.
Yeah, with Schneck still on 5 lands, I think that this is better. The 5/7 will be able to stick around when the creature starts showing up to attack, so he just has those blockers.
But here is the finisher for Joe. Wormcoil Engine is his other play, and this one matters so much because of that 6-power life link it represents.
Yeah, those life swings are going to be huge in pulling Joe ahead and stopping combat damage from being a reasonable out for Schneck.
If Joe starts getting upwards of 15 life points, it feels like it'll be difficult for Schneck to win anymore.
Yeah, we'll have to get a sideways 8 for Joe.
It wouldn't be a sideways 8, it would just be the words many. Another Court of Calling for Schneck. He needs to get that Oblivion Stone to be used. Schneck burning all of these tutors into Oblivion Stone. I guess he doesn't have many choices.
Yeah, he's not even sure what he wants to find just yet.
Okay, Kasali Pride Mage. He can force Joe to crack the Oblivion Stone.
Yeah, you can use it or lose it, buddy. Yes, he wants to get that stone off the table so we can start using that Collected Company to set up the combo with the red cap. The writing is on the wall with the Wormcoil Engine. Combat damage is just off the table.
Wall of Roots, the draw for Schneck. And a full attack for Schneck at Lossett. This is not lethal because of Wormcoil Engine.
Yeah, the Pride Mage is the only creature that can sacrifice itself. And the Viscera Seer, rather, can
okay,
sacrifice whatever the
life
worm
gain.
blocks. So that's interesting.
Eternal Witness
We're
and
still not
Kitchen Finks will
lethal.
get blocked. He's trying to use damage, I think, to force Joe to crack the Oblivion Stone. He doesn't want to commit anything else to the board.
Yeah, and if that happens, we can use the Pride Mage to destroy the Wormcoil Engine in response, and then the Oblivion Stone would take care of the worm tokens.
Sure.
Which is fine. I still think that we're pretty solidly in combo territory, but I see the plan.
So before damage, he sacrifices the Eternal Witness and the Kitchen Finks to scry one twice. This means Joe will not gain life off the lifelink from Wormcoil Engine. Of note, that second scry one, Jason kept the card on top with it. And 3 damage looks like it'll put Joe Lossett down to 2 life points. Well now, wait, if Joe's at 2, Schneck could just cast Murderous Redcap. He doesn't have the second black.
So yeah, that's why we're not seeing that.
But, hold on, if Schneck has a Court of Calling, he could end step do something like Chord for Birds of Paradise, blow up Wormcoil Engine to deny life gain, Murderous Redcap Joe's face.
So I think that Schneck kept a land on top.
If it's a black source, I like it.
Horizon Canopy into a black source and cast Murderous Redcap.
Yeah, he's going to do that into the black source. Here's Murderous Redcap, 2 at Joe.
Wow.
And that is the game for Jason Schneck.
Combat damage was not off the table.
That was really well played by Schneck.
Yeah. A lot of players would see that land on top.
We're saying things like strictly combo territory. I felt like it. You're not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Viscera Seer made it so the combat was not going to be profitable for Joe, even with the Wormcoil Engine in play, and we were able to roll it up for Xaxes. Really impressively navigated by Schneck.
All right. Well, all right. He's up a game on the Tron player. Also to note, last time we had this matchup show up, it went to time. It was a Logan Mize Drew. I want to point out that was half of the round timer in game 1. Tron is strange now. It doesn't win.
This is weird.
All right, we're going to look at the sideboards. For Joe, he only has 6 different cards in sideboard. 3 Thragtusk, 4 Nature's Claim, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 3 Warping Whale, 1 Spellskite, 2 Lightning Bolt.
So I like the relics for sure for the same reason I liked them before. You want to exile the Persist creatures with the Persist trigger on the stack. Lightning Bolts we can certainly have coming in, tag something like a Noble Hierarch, slow Schneck down. That one seems fine. Mostly we're just looking at those relics though. Not a lot else is terribly exciting. Then over on Schneck's side, there's kind of another hodgepodge. There's some weird ones in his sideboard. There's one Loaming Shaman. I don't think this is the matchup for that one. But it's a green and 2 for a 3/2 that can shuffle any number. I don't know if it's cards or card type. Let's get
cards.
Get that one. It's any number of cards from a graveyard.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think this is the Looming Shaman matchup. Abrupt Decay we can see come in to try to tag an Oblivion Stone before it's activated.
How about Archangel Avacyn to get that Oblivion Stone out?
Yeah, to just make your team indestructible. I like the Avacyn. That's an interesting piece of technology. Wasn't sure if we were going to see that one in Modern. Here it is.
Well, we'll see how they board for Game 2. In the meantime, we are a mere 3 weeks away from the upcoming Grand Prix. This is Modern Weekend. We're going to tell you about both of the exciting events you can play at, especially the one on the East Coast that will be hosted by Star City Games.
On May 20th through the 22nd, make plans to be part of Modern Weekend and Magic the Gathering history when StarCityGames.com proudly presents Grand Prix Charlotte. Register for the Modern format main event to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and receive an exclusive playmat featuring Jace as he pores over the pages of Tamio's journal. Select the 3-day Infinite Challenge package to compete in all challenge events for one low price, while also walking away with the exclusive Jace playmat. Add a premium rewards package and take home a collectible pin, deck box, 80-count pack of sleeves, and playmat, all featuring the iconic Noble Hierarch. Play in select side events for even more chances to win additional Noble Hierarch pins, deck boxes, sleeves, and playmats all weekend long. And don't forget to come say hello to Grand Prix Charlotte's many special guests, including cosplayer Christine Sprinkle and an artist alley full of fan favorites, headlined by guest of honor Rob Alexander. Be part of Modern Weekend and Magic the Gathering history. Register for Grand Prix Charlotte today.
StarCityGames.com/GP Charlotte for Modern Weekend here. If you like the decks you see today, you can go ahead and get those ready. Only 3 weeks away.
Yep. There'll be some great events. Make sure to hit those ones up.
You playing Grixis?
Why would I not play Grixis?
You're going to put down. Well, you see Michael Majors doing well with Grixis. Now, I know you like your decks a little lower to the end than that, lower to the ground. Some you need some 1-drops.
I don't know how to quit Delver of Secrets. I try, I fail.
When I've seen the decks, it feels like it's just Grixis control +4 Delver sometimes.
Yeah, it's a control deck with the 1-mana 1/1. Which, hear me out here.
All right.
It's not as crazy as it sounds. In particular, Michael Majors played against Tron twice in this tournament.
Oh, it'd have been great.
Those are his losses. They're just like home runs for Tron. Delver helps you actually win that match before they just Tron you.
Joe, having lost the first game, he's on the play. He'll start with a turn 1 Urza's Land into Expedition map. Going on to Schneck's side, he was on a 6-card hand, but has the turn 1 Birds of Paradise off Overgrown Tomb.
So in game 1, we saw Joe mulligan to 5 and lead with 2 Grove of the Burn Willows. Luck is a lot different for Joe in this start.
So easy turn 3 Tron for Joe. He had 2 Tron pieces and a map in his opener. You see him power plant on turn 1. Tower on turn 2, crack map, find mine. All right, we're good. He's going to have the big mana on turn 3.
Got any Karns?
What I like, this is one thing when Joe really likes to become educated with the deck. You might think, why would Joe do that main phase? But Jason had at turn 1 Birds of Paradise and could be playing Aven Mind Sensor in his deck.
Yeah.
That's not going to occur to every player to make that play. I see Jason make Kasali Pride Mage on turn 2. But practice or unpracticed, Joe's next turn, that's going to be an easy one. 3rd Tron land. Looks like we have Karn. I would say let's play it.
I believe Karn came off the top here too. Very fortuitous.
Oh, wow. All right. I like that the most. In case someone thought seizes me, I like drawing him on turn 3.
Yeah, we're Thoughtseize proof. This is great. I believe Joe also has an Ugin, so he would naturally have been able to do that on turn 4. And when that happens, this is really bad news for Schneck.
Karn going to go to work on Schneck's hand. It'll exile 1 card and go up to 10 loyalty.
Yeah, Joe had the option to -3 and Stone Rain Schneck, but then the Pride Mage would be able to exalt it itself, come in for 3 and take care of the Karn.
Yeah, the worry is, he's not worried about Jason comboing next turn, so why not just plus the Karn?
Exactly.
Let's not lose it. Kasali Pride Mage will attack Karn for 3. He's now down to 7. But ever the loyal robot, he's plenty healthy.
I don't think golems are technically robots.
Is he a golem instead of a robot?
He's Karn Silver Golem.
I suppose. Golems, no golem. It depends on your mythology. Golems are what, German mythology, I believe? Anyway, Ugin's a dragon. That one's easier. This 1-2 punch is pretty good out of Tron. Not many decks are going to beat it. So now Ugin will -3 to exile all of Jason's creatures. No persist on anything. Apparently it exiles Jason's lands and hand too. Ugin's just that good. Exiles the library, we're on to game 3.
Things were pretty academic from there. You use Ugin to sweep up the creatures. Karn then goes for a land. And now on the following turn, Ugin can kill any creature. Karn can still kill another land and stick around. And there's just no coming back from that.
Joe makes it look easy.
Well,
Tron if my opener is Tron piece, map, Karn, Ugin, like I'm gonna keep.
In game 1, he made it look very hard.
That's true.
But you're not wrong. Game 2 certainly was easy mode.
Those are the games where you look at this and you say, you know, I think this is a good matchup for Tron. At no point was Joe in danger of losing.
Yeah, it's just you have those nut draws.
Yeah. Well, players are going to go ahead and get back for game 3. So for those of you guys who've been joining us online all day, first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming out. It's always fun to be part of the community and the coverage that makes it possible. We do have a new thing to roll out here for Twitch subscribers. So you can go ahead and join us over on SCG Live for subscriber-only chat. You can subscribe to us using that subscribe button in the lower left-hand corner. Subscribe only $4.99 a month. You get custom emoticons and badge. And the new thing we're doing this weekend is just the You Decide the Quarterfinals promotion. So when the top 8 is announced on Sunday, in Twitch chat for subscribers, we'll list the matchups and the decks and the players that have made it into the top 8, and you will vote on what match you want to see 30 minutes before the beginning of the top 8, and that will be the match that will be covered. So let your voice be heard. Cheer on your favorite player, cheer on your favorite deck over at twitch.tv/SCG Live.
Yeah, this is looking to be a very diverse field. I assume we'll see a pretty diverse top 8. Go out and subscribe so you can vote and see the decks that you want to see.
Modern is such a wide open format right now. Is really nice.
Yeah, there's always tons of diversity in Modern.
You can even play Boggles, as Cedric Phillips has been showing us this weekend.
Yeah.
That's how open it is. You can put auras on your Glade Cover Scout. You can be that guy.
I think that option was always on the table for subscribers to that deck. Dan Ward, for example.
Yeah, he's that. I always like having to say stuff like Spider Umbra is the most important card in this matchup. I like saying that one with a straight face is hard. It's true, against Infect, Spider Umbra is where it's at.
Yeah, you have to be able to block those flyers.
Yeah.
The Inkmoth Nexus,
Inkmoth Nexus, yeah,
just
that's
goes
your
over
answer.
the top.
Once you got Vigilance and Spider Umbra, you're good.
And that's one of those matchups where Daybreak Coronet is slightly less good. The lifelink is not really a thing.
Daybreak Coronet's a messed up Magic card. I never beat that thing.
I want to know why Daybreak Coronet was in a Modern Masters set with a white Spirits deck that you can draft, but they didn't reprint Tallowisp. I demand answers.
Were there other auras that you would put on your things? You can only enchant an enchanted creature.
It's not that hard to put in auras once you put in Tallowisp. The answer is no. There was
they were like no
Volcanic Strength, Splinter Twin, Daybreak Coronet.
So I'd have to like put Pillory the Sleepless on my own guy and then Daybreak Coronet it because I'm out. Okay.
You would get to put Holy Strength.
They don't. That's not in there.
Spirit Mantle into
None
Modern
of these
Masters,
are in Modern Masters.
But they could have been. Tallowisp is also
Spirit
not
Mantle?
in Modern Masters.
Spirit Mantle Unlimited. That's great. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, you like a combo deck in constructed formats, but it's not okay when it's in a draft format, even if it's an expert level reprint only expansion.
There's nothing expert about giving your guy protection from creatures and attacking with it. Turn 1, Jason Schneck is Noble Hierarch on the playoff Overgrown Tomb. We go over to Lossett. Some copies in his sideboard of Warping Whale. Those have come in this matchup. That seems good. I like the versatility of the card. It counters Scape Shift. It kills Birds of Paradise. He'll play Ancient Stirrings on turn 1 off Grove of the Burn Willows.
You can accelerate your mana if you have Natural Tron and you have Ugin, but not Karn.
You know, I forget about that ability, the Make a Scion ability. I don't
not
see it
often used.
Yeah,
I talked to Jerry Thompson. He used that mode earlier on camera, and what he said was, I wanted to make sure the viewers knew that I drew the card. Because he was winning the game on the next turn.
You always like those cards with the choose 3 where one of them never exists. Malira turn 2 for Schneck and Viscera Seer. Oh, that's danger. We are one card away from infinite life.
Yeah.
And Joe has decided this weekend to play Fire Spout instead of Pyroclasm. So I guess he has the Warping Whale for interaction.
Yeah, we can use the Warping Whale to tag that Viscera Seer right now.
You might have to.
There's a good chance you wait for Schneck to cast a spell.
He does have Relic of Progenitus in his hand as well. That does stop the infinite life combo. He'll play it off Urza's Power Plant and pass.
Yep, they'll be able to stop any persisting shenanigans. So for now, Schneck's got to figure out some creature combat. Does have access to Gavany Township. That makes that road a little bit easier. Joe is still 2 Tron land shy of Tron.
Malira's an attack here. Joe just take damage, we pass back. Possibly Collected Company left up for Jason Schneck, so we go back to Joe Lossett's 3rd turn. You see Urza's Mine up at the front of his hand. That is his 2nd Tron piece. He'll play that. So still just 3 mana for the time being. He's not gotten all the way up to Tron.
Schneck's hand looks to have Collected Company and Court of Calling. So a lot of options, a lot of pressure on Joe.
Yeah, it's a lot of good redundancy on Jason's side.
If we're able to Collected Company into Pride Mage to maybe remove the Relic of Progenitus and then Court of Calling for Murderous Redcap.
The Malira is technically tapped here. Yeah, but we'll go for Collected Company anyways. It's not going to matter. This is on Joe's end step.
Right. Yeah, it attacked last turn, but
it's about to untap, so this is fine.
yeah.
Warping Whale cannot counter Collected Company.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Only sorceries. It'd be a little much to make that card have negate as one of its modes.
Yeah, that would be good. So he's putting Collected Company on the stack. Does Joe want to respond? We'll see. Not much he could respond with. I guess it's whether or not he wants to Warping Whale away the Viscera Seer.
Yeah.
He decides not to. 6 cards for Schneck. What creatures did he find? It's going to be Voice of Resurgence and Noble Hierarch. That's a pretty passive Collected Company.
Yeah, these are just creatures that are on plan for beatdowns.
Yeah, they're just things.
Yeah. Does still have that Gavany Township, though, so just bodies on the table is good for Schneck.
Yeah, you can't just start townshipping next turn. That would put a lot of pressure on Joe to have exactly Ugin.
Yeah.
Yes, if he can draw. And he's actually sacrificing the Voice of Resurgence to scry on end step so that he can have that Star Elemental in play.
Yeah, that'll make the attacks for even more damage. There we see Evan Irwin joining the team, a 5/5 giant.
A mighty Evan on Jason's side. Nearly as big as the Worm Coil engine. As strong as a Thrag Tusk. And as tough as a... Oh, we're losing the comparison. As tough as a something really big.
You tried. A for effort.
Here's Warping Whale from Lossett. It'll exile the Viscera Seer before Jason gets to untap.
Now Evan shrunk to a lowly 4/4.
Now simply a Bailoff. We go back to Schneck's turn. So we'll go back. Draw here from Jason. He will attack with the 4/4 It's just the 4/4 that's attacking, interestingly enough, which, if you're not swinging with Melira, I would really suspect a Court of Calling were I Joe Lossett.
Well, Schneck has 2 Noble Hierarchs in play, and he would have to use their mana to activate the Township.
So it's just the same amount of damage to only swing the Elemental.
Right.
Good play by Schneck. So 6 damage in at Joe. Might as well leave the guy back to represent.
Yeah, it's also just an extra mana for Court of Calling.
Right. You see Schneck's hand here. I believe 2 copies of Court of Calling. He'll pass the turn. Joe will just slowly go to work on Schneck's graveyard. Collected Company now gone. And Joe to draw another Urza's Mine. So, but you see he puts to the front of his hand. That's the one he actually wants. That's the tower. Plenty of Tron pieces for Joe. And now 8 mana is available to the Tron player. The finishers are online.
Do we have any Ugins?
That's the one he really wants. The dreaded Tron winding up for its finisher.
Hashtag the dreaded Tron.
Expedition map for Lossett. He's interesting. Okay, he's casting it off Power Plant. I'm surprised to see that, and he'll pass the turn. Is there a reason he'd want to leave up that colored mana for Grove of the Burn Willows?
Lightning Bolt out of the sideboard.
Okay, that is a card in his sideboard. That makes sense.
Schneck also doesn't necessarily know that whether Joe has access to Kozilek's Return. We haven't seen one cast yet, but that could be something in Joe's deck.
Sometimes they play Nature's Claim, though I'd be surprised to see it in.
Right.
Court of Calling on end step for Schneck. And he's going to get Kasali Pride Mage, it looks like, to maybe blow up that Relic of Progenitus, or just attack.
Well, yeah, we can force action on Relic, or make our Elemental token 1 larger, and another Exalted creature enters the battlefield.
Yeah, so it is 2 pumps for the Elemental. The Elemental up to a 5/5 would Exalt into an 8/8. That's a lot of damage.
At this point, with Melira Pride Mage Elemental, we're attacking for 1 more by just shipping that 9-point attack instead of just the 8/8. And with that damage being higher on its face, and the Township activation, assuming nothing goes wrong, actually makes that attack lethal. Those 3 creatures are 9 on their own. The Township pumps them all 3. Joe has to have something to deal with this.
Well, if he just swings the Pride Mage, the Elemental, and the Melira, and then activates Township, that is enough to, that is a lethal attack.
So he's thinking exactly the question that you asked. Why is Joe leaving this red mana untapped? He tapped 2 mana for Expedition Map. This could just be a bluff by Joe, so he just doesn't lose to this damage on the table.
Yeah, it looks like Joe has Ulamog in hand, so if he can survive this turn, he has some answers. And you're right, here's the swing. If Joe has Warping Whale, he can make a chump blocker. We may see that off that little used Scion move. A Gavany Township pump.
What do you got, Joe?
You have the Warping Whale? Otherwise, I believe it is game over and match over.
Even if we whale away a Hierarch in response, that shrinks the Elemental token by 1, but we still have exactly 11 damage coming across.
I don't think he has the Warping Whale. And Jason's saying this is dead. If you don't have something, Joe, I get the game. Does Joe have Lightning Bolt?
We can draw a card off Relic in response.
He may have wanted to do this before pumps in case he drew Warping Whale.
With where the dice are hanging out, I don't think that the pump is necessarily resolved.
Oh, he can Nature's Claim his own card. Don't forget that.
Yeah, we can stay alive just by plucking away the map.
So Relic will be cracked. Graveyards will exile. Joe will draw a card.
He would prefer to use a removal spell.
He draws Oblivion Stone. Well, how about that?
That's an exceptional pickup.
Yeah.
There's no persist creatures, and 2 of Schneck's mana are just hanging out in creatures right now.
Nature's Claim on Expedition map. Joe will gain 4 life by blowing up his own things. So he goes up to 15 here. This attack is 6 from the Elemental, 3 from the Pride Mage, 3 from the Malira. It is 12. Joe will drop to 3 now. Much better than -1.
You're not wrong.
And that, Joe may have just saved himself here. This is great. That remember he has Oblivion Stone and Ulamog both in his hand, and he has another Tron land. This is a good board state for Joe, despite the fact that he's at 3.
We use the stone to just get this mess out of here.
Everything gone.
Really over this board position. Let's start over. Next turn, it's very unlikely that Ulamog won't just close this game.
Yeah, and to cut off possible chords of calling or anything like that, he's going to go ahead and main phase crack this. I like that.
Yeah.
A lot of players will be tempted to do this during Jason's turn, but no, Joe's going to make, I think, the right play and to get this off the table.
Yeah, you just cut him off of a bunch of mana sources, both just Noble Hierarchs that are creatures that tap for mana or things you can invoke Chord of Calling with.
Here's Kitchen Finks for gaining life. Jason goes to 20, and it's a 3/2 attacker. It is lethal. We go back to Joe. Does he have that Ulamog? The Ceaseless Hunger would be quite the play right here. Could be a game-winning play even from Lossett.
Yeah. Probably would want to respect Path to Exile, get rid of the Kitchen Finks, and then one of the non-township lands.
Yeah, here's Ulamog, Ceaseless Hunger, Kitchen Finks, and Horizon Canopy will be exiled. He has cut Schneck off of white mana, even if Path to Exile is there. And yeah, Jason, that does not persist back. That is an exile trigger. And we go back, Jason, with 2 lands. He's gotten Joe so close to being dead. He will fetch for a land and play 2 Birds of Paradise.
Yeah, we're too far removed from being able to combo kill. We don't have enough lands to even activate Township to make these birds into 2 collective power of creatures.
Yeah, and remember when Ulamog attacks, he exiles 20 cards. 2 attacks should be enough to get all of Jason's library and his life total.
Hitting 20 cards could even just remove elements of the combo from Schneck's availability in library.
Yeah, Joe does have to be worried about Schneck somehow sneaking in 3 points of damage, but he's going to go for the attack, it looks like. You know, Exalted triggers, Townships. There's the potential.
With the mana available, Noble Hierarch. Oh, no, because you have to attack with the other bird, and you don't have mana to cast Redcap, where we're not there.
Oh, you're right, casting Redcap. Oof. Here's an attack by Ulamog. Exile 20, the Ceaseless Hunger goes to work eating away Schneck's library.
It would have to be land, Noble Hierarch, Murderous Redcap. That is an avenue to lethal.
All 3 pieces.
Right. A very different type of combo.
the deal you 3 damage combo. Exile 20 here from Schneck. And last turn here for Schneck. Can he get those 3 damage in before his library is eaten away?
Looks like a wall of roots off the top. That one is not going to do it.
That's not good for any damage. And here's the wall. He'll pass the turn. We're back to Joe. Trying to put the finishing touches on this game. Looks like an attack from Ulamog will do it if Jason doesn't have a way to stop the attack. It's all lands in Joe's hand. So here's the attack, 20 more cards. Jason's library is less than 20, I believe. We'll make sure. 6, 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Okay, Jason actually has 2 more cards.
We hung on. Now, the question is what the quality of these cards remaining is.
So if okay. If Jason had enough cards left in his deck there, why did we play Wall of Roots instead of just activating Township?
Yeah. We would have
won right here because they'd have 2 power. You'd play this land, tap the birds, get a 3rd. No, okay, you'd be 1 short, but you'd have better outs.
Right.
This will be closer.
The Wall of Roots just didn't seem to do anything. Like, regardless, playing the wall, I don't think accomplishes anything.
Township Court of Calling. Well, looks like there's an issue that if the Ulamog wasn't blocked last turn, yeah, the Wall of Roots should be dead. So he backs up his draw. All right, Judge resolves this one. It will be a township that's not going to do it. So game and match go to Joe Lossett. He and his green-red Tron deck picking up a 7th win, making a march toward that top 8.
Yeah, Joe made game 1 very close despite mulliganing to 5. I'm convinced that this matchup is pretty positive for the Tron deck.
Yeah, it does seem very good. We saw it last time be closer, and there's still some issues, you know, trying to stay threat dense enough with the Tron deck, but I agree. That seemed like a very good performance by Joe Lossett.
Yeah, so we had the question, is Tron still viable? Here's a premise. We know that Obzon Company is a good deck, it's a popular deck.